Hi, I'm Fred Schultz, captain of Constant Pursuit, one of the most well-known paintball teams in the world. And I'm here today to show you about one of the fastest growing sports in the world, paintball. I'm going to teach you that paintball is not intimidating. It's fun, it's safe, and it's made for people of all ages. I have been in the sport for approximately 11 years, and I've learned a lot of do's and don'ts about the sport. I'm going to show you exactly how to play it, so when you go play the game of paintball, you will have a lot of fun. So what do you say we get started, we go inside, take a look at some of the basic equipment it takes to play the game of paintball. This is a standard paintball. It's 68 caliber in size. It has a gelatin covering and is filled with colored water and gelatin. It's biodegradable and comes in many different colors. It wipes and washes easily out of your clothes. Be sure to properly store your paintballs in a cool, dry place and don't let them get wet or dirty. Some of the best colors to use that I find is yellow. For the simple fact is you can trail it as it goes through the woods. One of the exciting parts of playing paintball is the ability to choose from so many different types of pistols and add-on items. Let's start with the marker. Markers come in two basic types, the pump and the semi-auto. The operation of the pump marker is simple and reliable. When the pump is pulled back, a ball falls from the loader and into the chamber. Then when the pump is moved forward, the ball is positioned and ready to fire. In contrast, the semi has more moving parts and is more complicated. Every time the trigger is pulled, a ball is fired. The advantage, of course, being is you can throw more paint in any given amount of time over the pump. Unfortunately, semis use more air and much more paint. Another important aspect of a good marker is the air system. When paintball first started, small CO2 cartridges were used. However, they were limited to only firing between 10 and 20 paintballs. As the markers progressed, the CO2 bottles got larger to handle the increased capacity. Today, the newest technology is compressed air. And one of the best compressed air systems on the market today is made by Air America. The advantages to compressed air is it does not expand or contract depending on weather conditions such as CO2 does. So if you set your paintball marker at 280 feet per second, it will stay at 280 feet per second. I think the second most important part of your marker is going to be the barrel. And who better to let you know about the barrel than Bill Garner from Smart Parts.
Smart Parts specializes in high-end paintball equipment. A number of years ago, the industry had a serious problem in that the paint guns were only accurate to 20 to 30 yards. As captain of the All-Americans, I was constantly striving to improve the performance of paint guns. What I came up with was the patented Smart Parts rifle barrel. It's called airport rifling. It's a number of holes drilled through the barrel at angles. And what we have is two columns of air, one that precedes the ball and one that follows the ball. We take these columns of air and we drive them through the small ported holes across the ball, and this produces a spin. About 2 revolutions in 40 yards. It's a very light projectile. You barely want to spin it. And this has made the barrel, well, the guns, extremely accurate. In fact, now we're shooting over 100 yards accurately. In fact, it's the standard in the industry. All the top teams use this barrel. It's basically the best barrel out there.
Another important aspect of an efficient marker is the loading system. Many sizes and types are available. My personal choice is a VL2000. In addition to its large capacity, it has a motorized system inside that prevents ball jamming in rapid fire situations. And last but not least, I want to stress eye protection. There are many types of goggles out there, and you must, I repeat, must be sure that the goggle that you choose is made specifically for paintball. You cannot use a motorcycle goggle or a ski goggle because the lens is not constructed for paintball. My personal choice is Vent's goggles. As you can see, it has great peripheral vision. It also has vents in the side of it so air can flow through, therefore not fogging up the lens. It has a full face mask, but yet you can still be talked and heard through it. It also has ear and throat protection, something very important in paintball. the more you're protected, the more fun you're going to have out there doing it. When you go out to your paintball field, you can rent the goggles, the marker, the paint, the loading system, the camo, everything. So you don't need to purchase any of this to go play your first game of paintball. Paintball is an outdoor sport, and it can be played in many types of environments. A good set of camouflage is the single best thing you can do to avoid being seen. When choosing a set, the two factors to keep in mind are color and shape. Here are two basic types of camo you might choose from. The thing to remember is try to blend in the colors and shapes of the environment you plan to play in. Also make sure that the camos aren't too faded and torn, and that everything fits well. In areas of little vegetation like the sand and bush area, you want to choose a camo with a lot of browns and tans. As you can see, it's very effective in this environment. In contrast to the browns, the green camos work very well in wooded areas with heavy vegetation. Keeping these factors in mind, try to avoid specialty camos. They work very well in only a single environment and can actually make it easier for the other players to see you. The next thing you want to think about is shape. The single most recognizable feature of your body is the outline of your head. One way to defeat this and to break up the outline of the head is with strips of cloth or short branches. This technique also works with other areas of the body and even with your marker. Don't get too carried away with it, or it will be hard to move around in a brush. Some other things you want to consider are footwear, gloves, and other protective equipment. Even with the best camouflage, pay attention to your shoes and hands. A pair of white sneakers can be seen a long ways away. When purchasing paintball equipment, you want to find a real good store, a store that has variety. What do you say we go take a look at one right now? This is a very good example of a paintball store. I'm here at Hurricane Paintball in Orlando, Florida, and with purchasing paintball equipment, there's three major things that you want to look for. Number one, you want to look for the track record of the store. A store that's usually been open for a period of time is going to stay open in the future. There is nothing worse than purchasing a piece of equipment and something going wrong with it, you taking it back, and the store is no longer there. Number two, you want to look at product. Product's a very big thing. Every person is different, just as every marker is different. And if you go to the right store that has a variety of markers, the owner can work with you and fit you to the piece of equipment that best suits your needs and how you want to play. And accessories is a big thing also. It's eventually going to want to change barrels or maybe add to it or subtract to it or have airsmithing done on it. You want to have that done at a reputable place. And number three is support. Support's a very, very big thing. If you do any airsmithing or anything on your own marker and something happens and you have to send it back to the factory, if they find out it was not done by a qualified person, they will void your warranty. That is one thing you don't want. Once you purchase a marker and you put out that type of money, you want to make sure that that marker is covered. So those are three very important things, and I think that that will help you get through playing paintball and make it much, much more enjoyable for you to do. All right, now you've seen some of the basic equipment it takes to play the game of paintball. You've looked at camouflage, different types for the different type of terrain, and you see what a typical paintball store looks like. One thing I want to stress is paintball is not a violent sport. There are many, many different goals in the sport of paintball, the most common being capture the flag. Now we're going to play some paintball, but before we get started, there's a few things I want to go over, some do's and don'ts with you. Rule number one, never, I repeat, never take your eye protection off on the playing field. Rule number two, never shoot your marker in restricted areas. Rule number three, always keep your barrel plug in until the game starts and when you're not playing. Rule number four, avoid hitting players at short range. Most players will give up if you give them a chance, and they'll thank you for it, believe me. Rule number five, when you are hit, walk off the field in silence. Marked men tell no tales. Rule number six, remember to follow any specialty rules that each and every field may have.
And I want to cover some safety policies with you and some equipment instructions.
Keep in mind that one way to judge a good field is to see how strictly they enforce their own set of rules. Also keep in mind that sometimes paintball fields are near areas where people live and work. Not everyone understands the sport, and when you play, they judge a sport by your actions. Also, I want to stress the most important safety aspect on any paintball field is a chronograph. Every field you play on must have a chronograph.
And shoot when you're ready.
A chronograph measures the speed of the paintballs leaving the marker. Most paintball fields have a speed limit between 280 and 300 feet per second. It is extremely important that you follow the speed limits on your field and make sure that the field enforces this rule. All right, you know the rules of the field, you're ready to play paintball. But before we get going here, let's take a closer look at what your first engagement against your opponent is going to be like. Player 1 and Player 2 have sighted each other in the brush. They start shooting it out at each other. Player 2 is hit. He feels it, looks to confirm it, and yells hit. Hey. Player 2 stands, puts his barrel plug in, and walks off the field. Notice that Player 2 actually looked at his hit to confirm it. One of the biggest mistakes first-time players make is to yell hit as soon as they feel a hit. Sometimes a paintball won't break when it hits you, and you're still in the game. So be sure to look or reach around and see if the paintball broke, because even if the paintball didn't break and you yelled your hit, you are out of the game. The other thing you should notice is that as soon as the player yelled hit, Player 1 immediately stopped firing at him. If you think you've hit someone and they haven't yelled hit, you can call for a paint check on that player.
Paint check, ref, check that man!
When this happens, usually a field judge will walk over and check the other player. He'll tell you to stop firing and take a look at the other player. If the player is clean, the game continues. Sometimes you may be in a situation where you'll find yourself very close to an opposing player. You both shoot at each other and the other player calls for a paint check. A judge will come over, check you, and you're clean.
All right, you're both clean. Go, go.
Usually the judge will give both players a few seconds to run away before they can start shooting at each other again. All right, so you finally get hit. Well, what counts? If you're hit anywhere on your body or your marker, you're out. In most fields, a hit is counted anything larger than a quarter size. Spray doesn't count. And be sure not to wipe a hit off, or you may be accused of cheating and asked to leave the game.
Wiping is cheating, that's not allowed. You're out of here.
Now you've seen what it's like to face an opposing player. Now what do you say we go over some of the more popular ways of playing the game of paintball? In the early days of paintball, the individual games were popular due to the few number of people playing. Some of these games are still very popular today. The basic individual game is played in the woods and has each player pitted against every other player. A series of flags are positioned in the playing field. The object of the game is to either capture as many flags as you can or eliminate the other players. This is an excellent game for a small group of players or beginners to try. One way to win is to wait and ambush and eliminate the other players as they go for the flags. If you're lucky enough to get a few flags, be careful. If you get tagged, you have to give them up to the person that tagged you. And another variation of this game has no flags at all. The entire game is nothing but a free-for-all. When you get hit, you leave the field for only a few minutes. Check in with the judge and enter the game again.
Name? Nathan. Okay, head on back in.
After about 20 minutes, the winner is the player with the least amount of hits. Probably the most popular type of game you'll play at most paintball fields is the team game, and the most popular one is capture the flag. The game is played in the woods with two teams starting at different bases. At each base, a flag is hung. The object of the game is for each team to advance to the other team's base, grab their flag, and return it to their base. If your team is able to grab the other team's flag and the player running with it is hit, the other team has to defend that flag in that new position. Another very popular team game is speedball. Speedball is played in a relatively small area with barriers or bases. The teams start at each end of the field, and the goal of the game is either total elimination or center flag. Speedball usually happens very quickly due to the short ranges and numbers of people. Angles is the most important aspect of this game. You really have to pay close attention to not exposing yourself. Trail games are another variation of team play. The basic game is played on a road or trail with both teams starting at either end. A single flag is placed in the center of the field. The object of the game is to get the flag and move it past the starting point of the other team. The only catch is the flag cannot leave the trail. If a player is carrying the flag, he has to drop it on the trail before he's allowed to take cover. As with Speedball, a great deal of paint often flies around this type of game. As you can imagine, there are hundreds of different ways to play the game of paintball. Ambush and assault involves two teams. One team has a 10-minute head start and sets itself into a thickly wooded area to protect a single flag. The other team then sets out to get the flag. As you can imagine, this game creates a great adrenaline rush and is usually played at close quarters. Save the President is another team game. In this game, a single player on one team wears a bright shirt and has no marker. The goal of his team is to escort him safely from one end of the field to the other as the other team tries to eliminate him. Predator is another popular game that has both the individual and the team elements in it. One or two players are selected to be the predators. They are given a head start and run into the woods. The other players then go out and try to find them. Usually the predators are given an edge, such as a semi-automatic, to help make up for the numbers that they will be going against. Now that you have an idea about the basic games, it's time to talk strategy and tactics. Unlike professional paintball, there is no one person in charge of your team, and the conditions of the game change, and so your each individual approach to each game. I want to stress teamwork, but it is important that you understand that you are in charge of your own moves. In the basic game, your team will be made up of two parts: an offense that goes after the other team's flag, and a defense that remains behind to protect your flag. Some teams are very aggressive and leave no defense, while other teams leave everyone back and wait for the other team to come to them. Strategy tip 1. Before the game begins, assess the other team and the other team's base. Keep your eyes open and ask yourself these questions. What kind of markers do they have? Do they have enough air and paint for a long game? Is their base easy or hard to defend? Did anyone overhear their plans? Tip number 2. If your team decides to split up, try to pick squads with natural groups of co-workers and friends or people that you've played a couple times together with. Tip 3. Have 1, 2, or even 3 backup plans. In paintball, things change quickly. Be ready for anything. What happens if your team loses a flag right away? What will you do if everyone on your squad is eliminated? Do you know where to run to? Do you know where to go to hang the flag? Tip number 4. Communicate with your team members. It's natural to be as quiet as you can when you're on the playing field. However, the reality is that your team has a better chance of winning if everyone is communicating during the game. If you see someone moving ahead, yell their position out. Not only will it stop them dead in their tracks, but chances are good that one of your teammates has a better shot at them than you do. One of the worst mistakes you can make is tagging your own player. And even worse is when you tag them as they're running back to the base with the opposing team's flag.
Hey, I'm on your team. What are you doing?
Sorry?
Have a code word that everyone will know so this won't happen.
Blue team, blue team!
In a typical fort like this, a defensive strategy is sometimes stronger than an offensive one. The typical defensive strategy involves leaving almost all of your team behind to defend the fort. The goals of the team are, number 1, keep the other team from getting your flag. Number 2, tag as many of the other players as you can before they reach your fort. And 3, send an offense out after you have eliminated most of the other team's players. Although this may sound simple, there are a few disadvantages to this strategy. For the first part of the game, everyone will be sitting and waiting. This can be tough on the nerves, and you won't know where the other team is until they reach your fort. If the game progresses too far before you send an offense out, your team could be in big trouble. The other team now knows where everyone is, and the final battle is at your base. Whatever level of defense your team chooses, here are a few tips to keep in mind. Number 1, find positions where the defending players can see the flag. Sometimes a player will defend their spot to the end, just as their flag is being taken right behind them. Number 2, find defensive positions that offer overlapping fields of view. Number 3, move away from the base for your first defensive position and have 1 or 2 other spots to move to that are closer to the flag. With this tactic, you can buy more time and maybe catch the other team's offense by surprise. Number 4, avoid moving around in the base. By standing and walking around, you're telegraphing your position and the number of players to the other team. Number 5, if the terrain permits, send a couple of players out to observe the movements of the opposing offense. They may even be able to tag some of them as well as give your team early warning. Now let's talk about team offense. By using some or all of your players, you can apply superior numbers to any resistance that you might meet. Some of your basic goals are locate the other team's flag. Number 2, coordinate with your team to capture the flag.
Cover me and I'll grab the flag. Let's go.
Number 3, capture the flag and move it to your base to win the game. Although this sounds simple enough, a successful offense requires teamwork. No matter what strategy you and your team choose, here's a few helpful tips. Number 1, when moving, try to keep visual contact with the other players. Security in numbers gives you the faith to move. If you know someone is covering your back, you can concentrate more on moving forward. Tip number 2, don't bunch up into groups. As soon as a squad groups together, they become easy targets. Tip number 3, when moving, move 1 player at a time. With this technique, a well-organized squad can move through any area with confidence. If an opposing player is spotted, the other members of your team can be warned and assist you in eliminating that player. Now that you have the basics of offense and defense, let's concentrate on individual skills. The first thing you should be concerned about is moving. When you're moving through the paintball field, there are 2 main concerns: cover and concealment. When moving, move from one area of cover to another. Look for large trees, rocks, etc. to hide behind. Evaluate overgrown areas that could protect you from paintballs. Take advantage of rough terrain like hills, swamps, or other areas that the opposing players would avoid. In concealment, be aware of how the environment and your camouflage are working together. Stay out of direct sunlight and try to keep the sun at your back. With this technique, opposing players will have a hard time trying to find you in the sun. To enhance your concealment, move quickly, stay low, and do not stop in any open areas. Always assume you are being watched. And if you do spot an opposing player, freeze. The human eye is drawn to motion, and chances are good that they didn't see you. Avoid natural lines, paths, and perfect hiding places for the other team. Another trick is to wait for natural background noise before moving. A passing plane, a brisk breeze, your teammate firing at an opposing player will cover the noise of you moving. Now let's take a look at the key to good paintball, the skill of engagement. If you follow these few tips, you will improve your game dramatically. Whenever possible, work with at least one other person when zeroing in on an opposing player. Here are two classic maneuvers you can use. The crossfire technique. This maneuver works well against one or two opponents who are in similar terrain. In this maneuver, you and one other player are separate, but still in visual contact. Once you spot an opposing player, one of you engages the target player and attempts to keep his attention focused on you. At the same time, the other player maneuvers into a better position and tags the opposing player. Although this seems simple enough, the key to making this work is to keep the attention of the target always focused on the player that is shooting. The second technique is called the low man approach. In this scenario, a single opposition player is in a well-hidden area pinning down a large group of your teammates. One player gets down on his hands and knees and begins to crawl towards the hidden opposition. Overhead, his teammates begin laying down a cover of paint to mask the movement.
To the left, left!
As they do this, they yell position reports to the crawling player so he can get closer to the target before coming up. At the right moment, the forward player pops up, spots the target player, and tags him. The key to this technique is teamwork and trust. But here are a few individual tips that will help you in any situation. Number one, always get the initiative. If you can shoot first, the opposition player will be forced to duck. These few split seconds are the time you need to move in, aim, and shoot again. Number two, keep shooting. The more paint in the air, the better. Most beginning players make the mistake of thinking they have to wait for the perfect shot. In reality, that almost never happens. The majority of your hits will be at times when you can't even see the person you're tagged. And number three, be unpredictable. At some point in the game, you'll find yourself facing 2 or 3 opposing players while hiding in a base or behind a large tree. As you fire, pay attention to where your head is. If you keep popping out in the same spot, it's a simple matter for the opposition to aim in that location and fire. In addition to your head, watch where you place your feet and your hands. A hit on the shoe still counts and you're out. Number 4, control your excitement. When you've finally reached a flag, don't be blinded by the possibility of winning the game. Take your time. Watch for opposition players. The best way to lure you in is to lay low and wait for you to approach the flag. That brings us to our last area of concern, individual defense. Here are a few tips to keep in mind. Number 1, break contact as soon as possible. When you're taking fire from all directions, you want to get out of there as soon as you can. Don't try to fight it out. Back up. Find a safer spot so you can continue the game. Number 2, keep moving away from the area in a zigzag motion until you're out of range. A zigzagging person is much harder to hit than a person running in a straight line. If you get caught completely by surprise and all else fails, hit the ground. When you're as low as possible, it becomes very difficult to see, let alone tag you. Now that you've got a good grip on the basics of paintball, what do you say we talk to a couple of world champion paintball players, Mr. Bill and Adam Garner from the All-Americans?
One of the main suggestions I have for the new player, if you're going to get in and play this sport, you have to have competitive equipment at any level. Sure, the pros, they need the top guns, but if you're competing with other amateurs, you need a good gun too. I guess the suggestion is go out there and invest in a quality gun the first time out. If you're going to stay with the sport, it makes a big difference. It makes it much more fun, enjoyable. You can make the 60 to 80 yard shots. Go out there, go to your local fields, use the guns the people are using, you know, ask somebody to borrow the gun, and make a good decision with that first purchase, or you'll do what we do and buy. We bought everything there was to buy, and we had to learn the hard way.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because if you go to a field, paintball players are really willing and eager to help you with your equipment. And if you ask them, if you say, hey, that paint gun really looks like a good one, I'm thinking about purchasing it, if he'll often let you try it for a game and shoot it, and you'll get the feel for whether that's the right paint gun for you, rather than spending a lot of money shooting it and then making the mistake and finding out it really isn't. It's a lot better to make an informed purchase rather than just going out and buying the first thing that you see.
Yeah, and there's a lot of specialty equipment which is designed primarily for paintball. Camouflage is cut in such a way, etc., that it's comfortable, that it fits the needs of the player. You go out and ask your local paintball field, find a field and ask the players to see the equipment. You'll find paintballers are a great bunch of guys, and they'll really be willing to help you. Camouflage is a big issue for top pro players. We're constantly striving to find a camouflage that will hide us in a number of different environments. You go to California, you play in the desert, you need one color camouflage. You play down in Tennessee, you need a very dark. There are some basic rules though. Too light a color gives you away. It's an unnatural color. And if it's too dark, if it's like all black, you look like a black glob on the ground. I mean, it's very easy. The eye picks out the color. What you want is a natural, something that that breaks up the pattern, whatever the terrain you're in.
Yeah, and in addition to the type of camouflage that you wear and the color issues, you want to also keep in mind that you want to wear a long sleeve camouflage, something that's going to protect you as well as make you comfortable when you're playing. It's always a lot more enjoyable when you don't have to worry about feeling the paintballs and things like that. So try to pick a camouflage that you're comfortable with, because you're going to be in it for the whole day, and it makes it for a lot better and more enjoyable paintball.
And one other thing about camouflage, most camouflage is designed so that it hides you when you don't move. A lot of players make the mistake of going out there and buying that camouflage, and then they don't move slowly in close quarter situations. You have to realize you have to move your head very slowly. When you get in tight and you're in close quarters, sometimes you can be as close as 6-7 feet and not see the player. But if you move your head quickly, if you twitch, you're going to give your position away. So move slowly, use the camouflage, and it'll work for you. Individual tactics, that's a big subject. We're going to have to narrow it down a little bit and talk about some of the basics. The first, in the paintball, I guess in the pro circuit anyway, there's a word we use called tight. And what that means is learning to use your cover, choosing and learning to use your cover. It's very important to position your body behind trees, rocks, even sometimes small bushes, in such a way that you're less likely to be hit. Many players make simple mistakes. They take their ball feed out and they reload. They stick their elbow out from behind the tree. It popped in the elbow. Little things, keep your head, relax, and try to realize the little things you're doing that are giving away pieces of your body to the opponent.
Yeah, some other simple things. Often, many new players, when they start, they just walk into the flag station and the whistle blows and they run out, and they really haven't figured out where they're going. If you have a chance when you go out for that first game, if you can take 2 or 3 minutes just to figure out where you're going and what the best path is on how to get there, it'll often make it a lot easier for you. You'll feel much more comfortable when you get to that spot, and you might have a good idea on where your opponent might be. Another key area when you do get to that spot, often, as you'll find out, it may not be the best spot, and sometimes you get lucky and a paintball comes in and bounces off you, or sometimes it almost hits you. And you have to realize, if that player, your opponent, put that first ball on you, there's a very, very good chance that he can put another one there. So
time to get out.
Yeah, you better either get tighter or decide that it's time to move.
And the other thing is, you have to learn to judge the paintball. Sometimes just the noise whipping past your head, you have to readjust your body to avoid the ball. If it comes in and just misses your shoulder, you have to inch over just a little bit further to get out of the path. And then finally, use your gun for cover. If you've got one guy on the left, one guy on the right, and this guy's nearly hitting you, come out to the left, use your gun to suppress the guy that's shooting you from the left, and tuck your shoulder in further around the tree. You'll avoid the guy on the right and suppress the guy on the left. Just simple things that that you can do to improve your game. It's going to take a while, but if you work at it, you'll become good. Moving is very important, but shooting is maybe the most important thing in paintball. Basically, there are two types of shooting. One is point shooting, and the other is long-range shooting. Point shooting involves quick reaction time. You're in tight on cover. You've got to snap out, squeeze the trigger, all in one motion, launch that ball, and come back in. You have to shoot the player before he has a chance to return fire. It's usually done at closer range and with heavy cover. The other type of shooting is long-range shooting. That involves much more steady aim, controlled breathing, relax. But you have to practice shooting. I mean, you don't just get there.
Yeah, that's really where the equipment comes into play too, because the best shot in the world, it's not going to do you any good if you have the wrong barrel or the wrong paint and you come up for that good shot and your equipment doesn't let you make the shot that you're capable of making. So keep that in mind when you go to purchase your equipment and choose your equipment that you're going to use, because you're really counting on it to enable you to perform at the level you're capable of.
Well, one of the big advantages we use Smart Parts barrels. Gives us the range. We can outrange any team out there that uses another brand of barrel. We're outranging them by maybe 5-10 yards. And our groups are tighter, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah, it definitely does. Well, that's a really good question. Playing for the All-Americans, we get asked that question all the time. Starting a team is one of the things that most new players, after they start playing for a while, really look to do. And one of the keys in starting out is finding people that you feel comfortable with. You're going to, over the course of several years or several months starting to play together, you're going to find that you have to depend on each other and rely on each other and count on each other to make the moves. So finding a group of people that you trust and that you can talk to and communicate with is a big part of that.
Yeah, and learn from your mistakes. Everyone's going to make mistakes. You have to forgive those mistakes and learn from them. Every player has a piece to offer. In fact, that's what we've learned from the All-Americans. That's what makes us one of the top teams, is we take a piece from every player we have offers a piece to the puzzle. And you have to pay attention to what they have to offer. You have to build their skills. And forgive the mistakes. We're all going to make mistakes out there. Paintball's a tough sport. It's very competitive. It brings out the best of you, can sometimes bring out the worst of you. But the thing is to forgive the mistakes and build on the skills.
One of the key things that I've tried to teach the players on our team to do, and they've learned to do it very well, is a thing that I call counting. And it's a very simple when you think about it, but often players overlook it. If you know you're playing in a 5-man tournament, you have 5 players and your opponent has 5 players. If you're working and communicating and you see that your opponent has lost 2 players, then you realize that they have 3 left. And if you communicate with your teammates and figure out that 2 of your opponents are on one tape line, that may mean that only 1 player is guarding the whole other side of the field. And then you can work with your teammates to make your aggressive moves and your attacks towards that 1 player where you have a numerical advantage.
Well, the other suggestion I have is when you start out your communication, keep it simple. Under the stress of playing and trying to figure out what's going on in the field, start out with basic communication. Perfect one signal and then move on to the next. To go on to a further subject, I mean, as far as improving, the biggest mistake made in paintball, and not just at amateur level, at the professional level, is shooting and moving. The movement on the field, basically. If everyone on the team moves at once, then it's easy for the other team to pick you off. No one's shooting, so they just take a good aim and basically hit you. If everyone is shooting at the same time, there's no pressure on the other team to move or to expose something, so they tuck in tight, take a good shot, take their shots carefully, and again they have the advantage. But if you coordinate the shooting and the moving, 2 guys are shooting, one is moving into position. They have to react to the movement. And that reaction is what gives you the advantage. The more you refine the shooting and movement, or basically the movement of the team, coordinated movement, the better your chances of winning.
Yeah, with that in mind, keep in mind that the paintball revolves around that flag, and it is a timed game. So try to have your players aware of how much time is left in the game and focused on that goal of getting the other team's flag within that time limit.
And don't be afraid to try anything. The way we learn is by trying. It may be a nutty tactic. Nutty tactics work, even on the pro side. Many times maybe we get an uneven field, a field that's just impossible to win. So you go for the unexpected. You go for the last thing they'd expect. And sometimes that pays off, and you learn what works and what doesn't work.
Now, keeping all of that in mind, what do you say we take a walk through our first paintball game? All right, you've been put on a team. You've got your rental marker, and you're all set to play. As you walk out to the field, you take a quick look at the other team. It looks like they have some pretty experienced guys with semi-auto markers. Now you're inside the fort where your flag is hung. Since this is your first game, you and a couple of your friends are going to play defense. Your captain tells you the plan. We're going to defend until there's 3 minutes left in the game. If the offense doesn't come back, then we go out and try to get the flag. The game is about to start.
Go.
There goes the offense. Now you have to find a good defensive position. You move out a little bit, keeping in mind that the fort is still behind you as a fallback position, and you can still see the flag. On your right, you can see another defensive player covering the same area. Now you sit and wait, watching the woods for any movement. Sounds like a big paint fight up ahead. It's probably your offense against theirs. It stopped. Get ready, they'll be coming soon. Now fire, you got him. Okay, everything looks good. The flag is still there, but it's 3 minutes left now. Time to put Plan B into action and go to get their flag. You move out with the other players. Everyone spreads out and moves quickly. There it is, the opposition's flag. But don't be hasty, take a look around. There's one. A defensive player is hiding behind a tree. You motion to your teammates to move in on him. Then you start firing to keep his attention. Boom! They got him. So now you go. You got the flag.
Yeah, right.
You did it. You won the game.
Good job.
As you can see, paintball is fun for everybody. So always remember, play hard, play safe, play fair. This is Fred Schultz till the next time saying, you have a great game. Bye now.